Welcome, 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 sir. Thank you. Welcome. How you doing? You right?
I'm great.
That first chair, please, right there, VIP. Thank you. Right here, please. And there's a mic waiting for you as well. So, Jadon, in fact, it was a year ago. Not even a year ago. It was actually April this year. You were sat in one of those chairs, wasn't it? April this year. So maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah, not even a year ago. Like, can I first ask, is anyone here from Lucian? My guy over there.
Nice, Lucian.
So yeah, I was over here like recently. I just completed this program. Honestly, it's one of the best programs that you can get on. Very lucky to be here, honestly. Work experience opportunities, trips. It's generally amazing. And all the speakers that you're going to see. So this is the second in-person session. Over the course of the coming weeks, many impactful speakers you're going to see, and you're going to hear from them and be inspired.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jadon. I know, they almost don't know what's in store, right? All the amazing speakers you met with, I saw you connecting with, and later today I'm going to ask you to give these amazing young people some advice on how to get the most out of this program, because every time we had a speaker, I saw you staying behind, asking them questions, getting their LinkedIn, hustling, and making sure you were building that network and that connection. And look at you now. And let's talk about where you are now. So where are you now?
So right now I work management consultant apprenticeship at PwC.
Ooh, round of applause to that. And so PwC, tell us what PwC do. Raise your hand if you've heard of PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. Good, excellent.
I didn't expect so many of you to hear of it. PwC, big four consultancy. They do audit, accountancy, tax, consulting, and many different lines of service. There's plenty of opportunity for young people like yourself to get there. All you need to do is generally just work hard and be perseverant.
I mean, you should be so proud, Jadon, because it's hard enough to get into the big four, PwC, EY, Deloitte, and KPMG. But the management consultant degree apprenticeship, that is the hardest degree apprenticeship to get because everyone wants to be a management consultant. So congratulations. That is incredible that you're doing that and that you're loving it and that you're finding the time to come back and give back to the next generation. But let's take a step back. So you went to school in Lewisham. Which school were you at?
So I went to Prendergast Sixth Form in Lewisham. And before that, I was in Adithi Stanhope Secondary School. So
anyone from those schools? Nice. Oh,
that's my guy.
There's your little brother there. I can see him at PwC next year.
Yeah.
Or 2 years' time. So you went there. So what A-levels did you do?
I did business BTech, computer science, and sociology.
Nice. A good blend of A-level and BTech.
Yeah.
That's such a good point because I teach BTech or I taught BTech. Don't let anyone tell you that if you're doing BTech, you can't go to a top university, you can't get into a top degree apprenticeship. In fact, sometimes BTech could even be preferred because you got a chance to put a project together and got a chance to do presentations together as opposed to just writing A-level exams, all right? So that doesn't limit your path. So A-levels, happy with how you did at A-level?
Happy as happy can be. I got AAD. So I normally leave out the D, I normally say A, B, but I'm going to be honest with you guys today. Computer science, I got the D, where I should have been working harder, but honestly, it's about how hard you work from throughout your time in education. So like, I started revising very late. I got my A in sociology because I was really working hard for that. I think I got a C in the mocks from before that and moved it up to an A. And then business BTech, I loved it. It was my favorite subject at school. So got a distinction in that.
Wow. And that's another thing to remember, right? Just because you don't do as well as you want to do across all your subjects doesn't mean that closes doors for you, right? But you got to believe in yourself if you want other people to believe in you, right? You got to put yourself forward for those really competitive opportunities like degree apprenticeships at the big four if you're going to be in the game to win them. And so what are the things you wish you knew when you were in year 12, when you were in year 13, in terms of next steps? And then later I'm going to ask you about why degree apprenticeship over university. So we'll come to that later. But just generally, you talked about studying. What other things do you wish you knew 2 years ago when you were, or 2 years ago when you were in year 12?
When I was in year 12, I wish I knew this program existed. The personal shameless plug. But honestly, it really is about perseverance. So when I started year 12, I didn't know about the apprenticeship pathway very much. I wasn't really studying. It was more uni focus to go do business management at uni. The path has changed today. I'm at PwC. So the biggest change from that, I'd say, is just keep your options open. Look, there's plenty of websites to discover apprenticeships. Rate My Apprentice is a very good website to see all the opportunities out here. The Future Leaders Program, you'll get work experience, insights at various different companies that offer various different things, various different levels of apprenticeship. So you get level 4, level 6, and level 7. Level 4 is the higher consultants or the higher apprentice, which is what I do. The level 6 is where you enter the degree stage of apprentice, and the level 7 is the master's level, which I should be doing in about 5 years.
Wow. So your plan is to complete the level 4 and then do your degree level and then do your master's level. Wow. And that's another thing that people forget, right? People will look at an opportunity and say, oh, that's a level 3 or that's a level 4. I don't want to do that. I want to do a level 6. But your starting position is not your end position. Get your foot in the door. Get your foot into that company at whatever stage you can. And then if you're good, they'll invest in you. They'll invest in you like they're investing in Jadon. My school paid for me to do my master's in education, right? Your employer will invest in you and grow you through those stages. But get in that door, right? And start impressing. And so how many of you, I'm going to ask you a question. There's going to be 3 options. 1, I'm definitely going to university. 2, I'm definitely wanting to do an apprenticeship or degree apprenticeship. 3, I'm not sure. So raise your hand if you definitely want to go to university at this stage. Okay, about just under half of you. Raise your hand if you definitely want to do an apprenticeship, degree apprenticeship. Okay, more than half. And raise your hand if you're not sure. Okay, good. I love to see so many hands up saying you're not sure, because that's what today is all about. Today's about finding out more to help you make a decision. So get those questions ready, because the last quarter of this session is actually going to be over to you. All right? You're going to have an opportunity to ask all the questions that you want to ask. All right? All the things that you might be thinking of. So how does an apprenticeship work? So you talked about applying. So there's Rate My Apprenticeship. There's gov.uk/apprenticeships. There's other websites. So take us through that process step by step. Because you know what? Schools are really good at supporting with UCAS and university, because schools want you to go to university because it looks good for their results. Yeah, that they send all these kids to Russell Group universities. Schools aren't as good at supporting you with apprenticeships because they themselves don't know, because apprenticeships are so new. Today in this country, you can be a lawyer or a doctor, a solicitor or a doctor without going to university. There's a solicitor apprenticeship and there's a doctor apprenticeship. So gone are the days where apprenticeships were plumbing and construction. There's nothing wrong with that. But things have really evolved in the last 5 years, but schools haven't yet caught up. So Jadon, you catch us up, please. Take us through that process step by step. You go online, you like something you see, take us through the next steps, including psychometric testing, assessment centers, interviews, offer.
That is, the apprenticeship process is a long one. It's seen as a rigorous one. It starts off with the initial application. So it's where you express interest. You say that you choose the program that you want to apply for within the company, and then they'll get back to you with some tests. So it really depends on the company. There's numeracy tests, which is, I feared those when I was applying, but they're actually not as frequent as you think they are. There's personality-based tests where they look at your compatibility to the company by your values and how you operate. So if you're a team player or you're a good communicator and such, if you pass those, so I started off with a video interview. When I did the video interview, I spoken personally to just a blank screen in front of me, selling myself as to how I should be the one deserving of the company and how great the company is and how I can see myself there in the coming future. If you get through that, then there is the assessment center, which is often a group of 8 to 12. You're in a room and you're working on a task together, and they see how you operate as a part of a team, see your group discussion skills, your communication skills, if you put yourself forward, if you raise up the people around you to do the best that they can do. Those are all very impactful parts of the assessment center, and a lot of other companies, they have a final interview at the end, but no.
And so tell us about, while David and Sarah get settled, take a breath, have some water, and get comfortable. So this group activity they make you do at assessment center, there's 8 and 10 of you in the room. What are the activities actually like? What do they tell you to do?
See, I was interested because my one was virtual, so I did it all from home. The activity I was told to do was look at a company and see where they could better use their spending and come up with a company strategy for them to like meet their sustainability goals whilst not sacrificing too much profit. So we all come up with ideas and strategies around how we plan to do this, and then together we lift each other up, we look at the ideas individually, and we come to a conclusion on what the best idea is, and then we can present it to someone that is watching within the room.
Wow. Imagine doing that as opposed to an exam, right? So when you're thinking, is uni for me, is apprenticeship for me, think about how you like to work. Do you like a real problem like Jadon had? They give you a company, they said this company needs to cut costs. Go and find a solution. If that's how you like to work, an apprenticeship might be a better way. If you like to read out of textbooks and do exams, then university is going to be the right way, right? Both ways, you're going to learn the same stuff, but it's just about your learning style. How do you prefer to learn? Right? Jadon, thank you so much. And welcome to our amazing alumni, David and Sarah. Round of applause for David and Sarah. So David and Sarah, thank you so much for joining us tonight. So grateful for your time. And if you introduce yourself, please tell me which uni you're at and tell me what program you're studying. David first and then Sarah.
Hello, my name is David. I study accounting and finance at University of Greenwich.
Amazing.
My name is Sarah. I study history at the University of Cambridge.
Amazing. And Sarah, I feel like it was just, so you guys were on the program 2 years ago in year 12, and you were both on the East Hub. That's right, isn't it? And David, you were an ambassador for us last year, and that meant that you came back and helped us deliver the program for year 12s, which was awesome. And Sarah, you're the first person we call whenever we need anything. So you've been there the whole time as well, which we're so grateful for. It makes me so proud. First of all, can I just say, seeing the three of you on here, you've achieved what you wanted. You're killing it. You're happy. You're successful. You made it. Round of applause for that. And Future Leaders is all about giving back, right? And I'm going to ask you later about what advice you have for these young people about getting the most out of the program. Yeah. But part of the thing we try to embed in people is actually, you know what? When you're successful, be sure to send the ladder back down. Yeah. Be sure to send the ladder back down so others like us can climb up. And that's exactly what you guys are doing tonight. So thank you. Sarah, tell us a little bit about your stories. So did you always want to go to Oxbridge? Did you, what A-levels did you take? Did those results work out how you wanted? How did you do the hustle to get where you want? And then I'll come back to you to talk about what's it actually like going to Cambridge.
Okay, so as you've heard already, my name is Sarah. And I was on the Future Leaders program from 2021 to 2022. That sounds right, yeah. Back then, the program was a lot smaller than it is now. I think that was the third year of the program, and there were only about 180 of us on it. And there was only the East Hub, like it was just in East London when I did it. And I think we had sessions a lot more frequently than you guys did. I think we had them every single week, which sometimes got a bit overwhelming. So I think I would have appreciated like a hybrid scheme like you guys have here. But it was so like, there was just so much on offer. There was so much like resources like applying to university that made me so much more confident. There was so much like the personal development was insane because when I started the program, I had like a lot of anxiety. I'm disabled, so I'm deaf. I wear hearing aids. And I was just like I wasn't very confident accepting my ideas. I was a very anxious person. And by the end of the program, I think my mum like literally said to me, she said, "I've like you don't shut up now." It made me so much more confident because I think like the opportunity to speak to so many people who were where I wanted to be in the future and have the opportunity to like ask questions and be encouraged to ask questions in an environment that felt a lot safer than school did was like so impactful for me in my journey towards Cambridge. In terms of whether I've always wanted to go to Cambridge, I wouldn't say because it was always like sort of like oh my god, what if I went to Cambridge? But my GCSEs were not going very well because of like a lot of things that were going on at home. there was basically a lot of like, and I'd been recently diagnosed with like progressive hearing loss, and there were just loads of things that made me like not very confident about my chance of applying to university at all, let alone applying to a university like Oxbridge. But I think like over sixth form, like over the Futures program, and because of like the support that it provided me, I became so much more confident and able to see myself in a place such as Oxbridge, and actually envision myself going through the application process, being able to speak my, oh my God, I think this is too close to my mouth, speak my opinions, and feel confident expressing myself. And I think the program really helped me with that. And yeah, that's a summary of my story.
I love I love the start of that. I love the start of your story, which is what you just shared, which is amazing. I loved how you picked up on the personal development piece, right? Because they've just done a session on growth mindset. We're doing some personal statement stuff with them, and then we're going to go into some discrimination stuff. And sometimes when you're watching that stuff, you're thinking, am I really going to benefit from it? But it's really good to hear from someone about what the impact was 2 years ago or 2 years later, right? So you just did the growth mindset. It actually can make you more confident. It can actually make you more able to put yourself forward for opportunities, right? And make you more likely to apply for things like Oxford and Cambridge or degree apprenticeships or whatever you want to do. So really lean into those and really try to get the most you can out of them, all right? Okay, we'll pause there. Let's go to David. So David, why accounting and finance and why Greenwich? How did you pick your course and how did you pick your university? What advice would you have for young people here who are starting to think about where do I want to go? What do I want to study, etc.?
First things I would say is like probably just relax, be calm, because it's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? You're only in year 12, year 13. So it's not the end of the world. When I picked Greenwich, it wasn't my main like choice, but I realized halfway through when I was going for degree apprenticeships, I wasn't getting all the way through. I realized that like when you go into the like KPMG, HSBC, when it goes into those companies, you realize you become a grown adult. And secondly, you're only back office when you get those apprenticeships. So you're not doing all the cool stuff like going to meetings necessarily, because you find yourself just back office. They tell you, oh, fill out this Excel sheet, do this, do that. So I will say, if you're going to go for apprenticeship, be ready to just be at back office. Whereas when you go for uni, you have the freedom to do what you want, as well as, especially since I picked Greenwich, which is a school for employability, where they give you so many opportunities to go to this place, go to that place. You get shadowing experience. You're able to do what you want. I just feel like that's why I really had to pick the university route, because I was 16, 17, 18, trying to go into like big companies. I'm not really trying to do that, you know what I mean? So I picked university. It's something slower, but I still have the choice to be able to use the future leader skills that I gained into working into shadowing, getting experience, and yeah.
Thank you, David. And why did you pick Greenwich, especially? And why that course? Clearly you have an interest in finance. Yeah. Why Greenwich? Where all did you apply? Was it a visit to Greenwich that really got you? What advice would you have for them around picking the right university?
The right university should be based off your qualities. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of my friends, I know them, they pick like schools like C. A lot of them pick schools like Mary. A lot of them picked unis where it was quite studious, but Greenwich really made it different because the employability. Do you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you want to get into your good job. You want to get a good graduate scheme, and I feel like Greenwich, that was really possible for me. So I picked that uni.
Okay, and did you go and visit before you picked it?
Yeah. I visited. I talked to people there. They're like, yeah, like a lot of them, like they've gone to City. They're really smart, but they found themselves not getting a graduate scheme or internship at the end, which was weird, you know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, so, the right university for you has to be the right university for you. Yeah? Just because Oxford and Cambridge are often referred to as the best doesn't mean it's the best fit for everyone. You have to go to that university on an open day, spend time there, speak to people who are at that university, try to find out if that vibe is your vibe. Because there's many good universities out there. Many. But you got to find the right fit for you. So I think good advice from David about go and see what the vibe is. The other thing I'd say is really research the course, because accounting at Greenwich will be very different from accounting at Queen Mary and accounting at City. Very different. So when you're applying on UCAS, don't just put accounting. Actually read the syllabus. See how the course is taught. See how it's assessed. Is it coursework? Is it exams? Is it group work? How many lectures are there? Are you a lecture person? Are you a coursework person? Look into all of these things when you pick the course and when you pick the university. Thank you, David. That's really great. Sarah, did you want to say something?
Sorry?
Go on.
Oh, I thought.
Oh, lovely. I just want to pick up with Jadon. David, I would challenge you on what you said about apprenticeships being back office, because we have a lot of young people from Future Leaders who go on to do apprenticeships, and they are doing some crazy, crazy cool stuff, like being in billion-dollar meetings where decisions are being made, getting to ride helicopters for the engineers. So I think it depends on where you're doing your apprenticeship. And I'd love to hear from Jadon about, so you're 2 months in. What's it been like? Are you in a back office doing Excel spreadsheets, or have you been doing some cool stuff?
I understand what you're saying. Definitely, there is quite the bit of back office when you first join, but I've definitely had the opportunity to do some cool stuff. People in my cohort have been already on airplanes, going crazy places already. So I'm only 2 months in, and they're going out. They get to fly business class, which is beyond me. They get all their food covered, hotel covered.
And where are they going? Where are they being flown?
Someone has gone to, I think, Spain already, and someone's gone to Reading. So, and the year above me, they've gone crazy places like Brussels, Prague, Greece, plenty of places that PwC operate. When it comes to apprenticeships, I love university as well. Like my sister, I'm a twin. She goes and studies medicine at the University of Exeter. So it is really what is right for you. But I always say that apprenticeships, once you finish, you have no debt. You're in the job market, so you don't need to search for a job. And you've got years ahead of potentially someone that has gone to uni and lived out some more experiences.
And that's a really interesting point. And Kai, can you do me a favor and remove this empty chair in the middle? I don't want an empty chair in the pictures, please. That's a really interesting point, because I read a study recently, and it tracked career progression. And I just bring it in, boys, bring it in. And it tracked career progression over 7 years. Yeah. So from the age of 19, it tracked career progression over 7 years through the two routes, the university route and the apprenticeship route. So the degree apprenticeship candidate went straight into the company at 19. Okay. The university student went to university for 3 years and then entered the company in year 4. What they were analyzing in the study is when a manager position came up in year 7, who was more likely to get that manager position? Was it the apprentice that had been in that company for 7 years? Or was it the graduate who had come in with a university degree and had been in the company for 3 years? Raise your hand if you think it was the apprentice that got the promotion. Whew. Raise your hand. It's so weird, because yesterday we were in our West Hub and it was the complete opposite. Raise your hand if you think it was university. It was the apprentice. Statistically, it was the apprentice year on year on year. And when they dug deeper into why the apprentices were progressing quicker, it was about network and about values. When you're hiring someone, you want someone that knows the business, right? That lives and breathes the business, knows the values. And of course, the person that's been there for 7 years just knows it more. And they've had more contact with senior leaders. They're more embedded in it. They've done some travel, etc., etc. So it's really interesting to see that actually, for some, things are changing. And if you do an apprenticeship, it's allowing you not only to get into the job market quicker, no debt, all of that, but actually, over the lifespan of your career, you may progress more quickly as well, which is really, really interesting. Okay, lovely. But, Cambridge, right? Let's talk a bit about that. So what's it like going to Cambridge? Because you've got that one-to-one. Is it true that it's just you and a professor who's like a world leader in your area of study, and it's just he sits you down and says, Sarah, tell me what you think about this article or book or idea, and then you just like pow it out? Is that how it actually works?
Mm-hmm. Okay. first things first, I want to pull you off with something you said earlier when you said that if you prefer to study out of textbooks and do exams, then the university route is for you. I don't think I have touched a textbook since the start of my degree.
Wow.
So the Oxbridge model, the Oxford and Cambridge model, is quite like the thing that makes it unique is sort of the volume, I think, of work you have to do, and like the personalized teaching. So what I mean by that is, so the way that like my supervisions work, so I do history. So every single week I get given an essay question. So for context, my essay question this week, which I need to go back this evening to Cambridge and write. Yeah. And I was set this essay on Monday and it's due tonight. So you get given a question, and my question this week was about, like, just for context, it was about what is the role of ideas of natural right in revolutions in the 18th century. And you'll get given topics that you've never heard of before, and you get given a reading list of about 50 books, like no page numbers, just 50 books. And you are told, okay, go away and research. And you have to, like, using your own initiative, break down which of these books is important for you, which pages are most important, read those, distill down the notes, understand the topic, completely digest it, by a certain deadline, which will be about 4 or 5 days, usually. And then you have to produce a 2,500 word essay, show up to a supervision with someone who, as you say, like, these are people who are at the cutting edge of like research into areas. So currently I'm doing a focus on intellectual history, which is the history of ideas. And I'm being taught by people who have made revolutionizing discoveries about the history of science, the history of political thought in the past 2 or 3 years, and released released books, released articles about this. And you get sat down like one-to-one with this academic. An academic basically an academic read your essay, and they basically grill you on what you've written, on every single like last letter, on even the specific phrasing you've used, like, oh, why have you used this? Why do you think this? And then sort of quizzing you on what you've read, what you think about the idea. And then the idea is that, like, by the end of the supervision, you have a greater understanding of the topic and you have a greater understanding of your own opinion on the subject. In terms of modes of assessment, this is something that's very important for you guys to look into when you're applying, because yes, there are some universities where the majority mode of assessment is closed book exams, end of the year. But for context, in my first year, I did 5 papers with the modules, basically. I had 5 papers and only 2 of them were assessed by exams. The other 3 were coursework based. So like that, and then sort of like as a like sort of non exam assessment based. And so it's definitely important to look into the course that you're applying to, look into how it's assessed, look into sort of, is this assessment a way that works for you? Because I will say definitely that the intensity of Oxbridge is not for everyone. There are some people who would perhaps learn better in an environment where they have, like, you know, a whole term to like do the work, distill it down into a final essay, a final project, a final creation, and then submit that at the end. So it all depends on how you work. I'm someone who like thrives on the intensity, because I'm the kind of person who, it's like, if I've got like a deadline to work towards, like, that's what gets me going. That's what gets me like doing my work. So it definitely works for me, but it's not for everyone. There are people I know who have started off at Oxbridge, decided that like the style of teaching wasn't for them, and moved on to like other universities, and got on first. So a first is basically the top grade you can get at university. So it goes first, 2-1, 2-2, third. So I know people who've gone and gotten firsts at lots of other different universities, just because they didn't really click with like the way that Cambridge and Oxford do like teaching. So it's very important when you're applying to make sure that the name Cambridge is like big, like, so, wow. The name Oxford is like, wow, but it's like you have to make sure this is definitely something that is going to work for you and something that's going to be beneficial, because you do get like unparalleled opportunities. The opportunities I've had at Cambridge, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. But it's definitely like the toss up of, is it going to be a system that works for you? A lot of people will go to Cambridge sort of. They'll aim for like a 2-1, 2-2, and they'll just go for like the connections, because you do make connections with just the most insane people. And in the wide variety of ways. And so I would say, if I were to distill it down into like its components, what you get from Oxbridge is like unparalleled teaching that is very personalized. So it will be the same academic that you will see, or academics. I have 2 or 3 supervisions a week on different topics, and it'll be the same people you see every single week. You build a relationship with them, and you have like these one-to-one classes, and you don't really get that anywhere else. And sort of the networking that you get is also like absolutely crazy. The toss-up of that is it somewhere where you will thrive? Is it somewhere where you can cope with the intensity? And is it somewhere where you like the way that the course is taught? And that would be my summary of Cambridge.
You're so good at summarizing. That was amazing. And so an essay a week, 3 supervisions. And what was the question again?
My question for this week was, what is the role of ideas about natural right and like the rights of man in 18th century revolutions in America and France?
Wow. And so you've just come from Cambridge to talk to us, and you're heading back to Cambridge tonight. And round of applause for that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that. I'm going to come back to you. And David, I'm going to come to you in a second. I want to hear about the Greenwich experience. What are the lectures like? What are the sessions like? But before we do that, a massive, massive welcome to Haneen. Haneen, welcome. Round of applause for Haneen. Haneen, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you coming back and sharing your story. Tell us, when were you on the Future Leaders program?
2022, I believe.
22, yeah. And which hub?
West.
West hub. Good.
There's a check coming here.
It's a trek. Thank you for coming all the way.
Thanks for having me.
Nice. So tell us, Haneen, what are you up to now?
So I'm studying maths at City University, which, to be honest, was not 2 years ago my first choice. But I feel like a lot of students might be in the same boat, especially at 12. I grew up thinking I'm doing law. So for like 10 to 16, I was like, cool, this is my future now, because I'm very good at debating, and I grew up being told you need to be a lawyer. Like the way that you argument is just, that has to be your future. I realized law is a great avenue, and it's like really, really smart people are able to do it. But I'm not the best at writing essays. So I was like, I love to argue and I love to talk, but I do not like to write. So I was like, even like history, I love history. I did that for A-level. I did history and politics for A-level, and it was probably one of the things that made me want to do law as well. But it was, writing is not for me. Writing is not for me. But I realized I liked numbers a little bit. So I was going to do economics. And then I realized too many essays. So I changed it to architecture, and I realized I wasn't set for that. I can't draw. So I was like, you know what, I actually kind of like, since year 11 to year 13, I was like, I don't mind numbers. I don't mind doing all that long stuff. So I was like, what's another 4 years, you know? And it pays well. So I was like, I might as well do a bit of maths, see how that goes. So that's what my future's looking at the moment. That's what my journey is.
I love that, Anita. Round of applause for that journey. And Haneen, what I love about your story is you had the guts to say, actually, this is not for me. Yeah, law is not for me. And that doesn't mean you can't be a lawyer, or you can do your maths degree. You might choose to do the GDL, convert to law if you want to later. But actually, this is what we really encourage you to do. Do what you love and you'll do well. Sometimes we've got this idea in our mind. I want to be an investment banker. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. But do you actually know what that experience is like? Have you thought about what it means to be a doctor or a lawyer or a banker? What does that 9 to 5 look like? And is that your vibe? Is that where you excel? Is that what's going to make you happy? Because I'll tell you this, it's a long time to work till you retire at 70. It's a very long time to work. So do something that you love and you'll excel in it. You'll be the best in it because it comes naturally. I've got too many friends that hate their jobs. They're making the money, but they hate their job and they can't wait to get out. That's not the life you want to be living. Especially when your age, your teachers, your parents, yourself, I want to be this, I want to be this, I've always wanted to be this. It takes guts to say, actually, that's not for me. And I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do something else because that's a better fit for me. And you know what? Maths is a much harder degree than law. I'm sorry. That's a much, much harder degree. And City is an amazing university. So well done for going that. And also, there's an underrepresentation of girls in maths. So you come out with a maths degree, you can get any job you want. So your future looks super, super bright. Well done.
Thank you. And even going back to there's not many girls in maths. Let's just say, so at the moment I've got a module to do with Python, and they've sort of cut us into different labs. And there's maybe like 20, 30 of us in there. There's like 5 girls, and it is stressful. Or even like with maths, majority of them are always going to be boys, and like whatever class I'm in, whatever lectures I'm in, and so I'm a very competitive person. I think you've seen the worst of that one.
We love it all. We love it all.
Thank you. I try. But like it comes to a point where, as someone in STEM and a competitive person, I now just drive myself to do better than them. Which actually works, guys. I'm just saying, try be better than everyone else in your class. Be better than yourself. Number one, that's your first aim. But if you ever like need an aim, pick one person in your class and just beat them. That's my that's how I got into university.
Nice. And Hanina, I love what you said about being different is an advantage. One of our values as future leaders is your diversity is your superpower. Lean into it. The fact that you're one of only 5 girls in that lab, that's a superpower. The fact that there's less girls in maths, that's to your advantage. Use your ethnicity, your gender, your religion, your sexuality, all of those things as your superpower. Because it's what makes you different. It's what makes you special. Really lean into that, to your story. And that's why the first thing I do on this program is share my story. It's not easy to get up in front of 200 kids you don't know and tell that story. But we're trying to model the behavior of lean into that story, because that's what gives you your superpower. And that's what's going to take you places. So own it, because only you can own your story. Thank you, Hanine. We'll come back to you. David, tell us, Greenwich, huge university, beautiful campus, is one of our partners. Did you visit when we took students to Greenwich? Amazing university. What's the Greenwich experience like? How many people in your lecture? What's the workload like, etc.?
So the lecture's obviously very large. You're in a uni, you have accounting and finance. Your lectures, they're massive. You can listen if you want. You can not listen. It's up to you.
Give me a number. Massive is what? 100, 200?
Like 100, 200 students in a lecture. So it's like this. Literally looks like this. Loads of kids just listening and learning.
Are they listening? Yeah, they're listening.
And then when it comes to seminars, where it's like more closer, that one you can take advantage of, because some students might not want to learn, but that's where you can take priority. Like the teacher's there, always willing to learn, always willing to help you learn. So you can go up to them, say to them, oh, this, that. You can sit there for like 30 minutes straight, just talking to the teacher, asking help for this, for that. And also the people there, you'll find that there's a lot of like people on the same wavelength as you. Like they all want to make it, do you know what I mean? So like I've met a person, he has quite a few Airbnbs, he has his own like business there. Met another person, she's already secured an internship in the summer, 2, one in Easter, one in the summer.
Wow.
So it's not like, the uni isn't good, or like what it may not seem, but there's people there ready to learn, ready to do what you're ready to do. So it's just making a statement for yourself in the uni you're going to, and take advantage of it, because you're paying that money. You're going to want to get as much as you want from it. So yeah.
Nice. I love that. Thank you, David. That's really powerful. And as we come to, I want to move to questions, because I want to make sure these guys have some time. Before we do that, final piece of advice from each of you. Tell me one thing you wish you knew when you were sat over here. Whether that's about university, whether that's apprenticeship, whether that's personal stuff, whether that's whatever it is. What's the one thing? We'll start with you, Jadon. What's the one thing you wish you knew when you were in year 12?
To seek out work experience. I actually never looked for it at all. It was only when I got just gifted it to me. It essentially gifted me a work experience at PwC, which I went and saw the company, liked it, started doing a lot more. I did Future Leaders in year 13, which is really different. I think there was 2, me and Sam, who's successful now, if you didn't know. He's gone on to do great things, but honestly, take as many opportunities as you can, as many insight days, even if it doesn't seem interesting, even if you like look at it and say, it's dead, still go, because you might find something that you like.
That's such good advice. You know, we did this engineering work experience program. We had 150 applications, and I was quite disappointed in that because we got 1,000 kids on the program. When Ms. Shakur told me we had 150 applications, I said, that's only 15%. You're telling me only 15% of the kids put themselves forward for an opportunity? That's crazy. That opportunity comes with 5 work experience days at $1 billion company. And it doesn't matter if you're not interested in engineering. Whatever you're writing your CV for a personal statement, being able to say, I was selected for a work experience program where I learned this, that, and the other, you can connect it to maths, you can connect it to business, you can connect it to history. What people want to know is you're being selected for stuff. That's why we encourage you to post about future leaders. That's what builds your personal brand. So listen to Jadon. He's working at the company he did work experience in. That's the difference it can make. So put yourselves forward for the opportunity. You're not going to get every opportunity, but you're 100% not going to get the opportunities you're not putting yourself forward for. And yes, sometimes you have to put yourself on video, but guess what? When you're in the real world, that's exactly what they make you do. Did you have to do videos part of your application? Please say yes. Did you? That's how assessment centers work. So we're not doing it because we love looking at you. We're doing it because it's giving you practice for the real world. Because when they make you do videos, it's on a timer and you got one go. Is that right? Yeah. So put yourselves forward. It's true. I'm not making this up. Put yourself forward for opportunities and make a success of it. Okay, David, top tip.
You might not like this one, but I would say relax, be calm. Like, don't push yourself. Like, a lot of us, like, you're all trying to make it too much. Like, just relax, and the time will come. Like, and this ain't even coming from me. I meet regularly with a global leader in HSBC, and he even says the same thing to me. He's like, I shouldn't be trying to push myself too far because you're gonna keep pushing yourself, and you find yourself you're not getting what you want, and then you realize later on, oh wait, I would have reached that place if I just took the time and just waited. You know what I mean? And also, I would say take advantage of your connections. Like, a lot of us, you have a friend whose mum is like into accounting or whose mum is like into medicine. Ask her, oh, can I shadow you? You put that on your CV, you're going to get to places. So just ask a friend of a friend for opportunities.
I love that idea. And it's funny because somebody on the West session said to me, sir, I really want to be a dentist. Can you get me some dentist work experience? I said, you have braces on. He said, yes. I said, that means you have a dentist. He said, yes. I said, have you asked your dentist if you can shadow them? No. Are you crazy? When's your next appointment? Saturday. Okay, go in there with a box of chocolate and say, dear dentist, you've inspired me. You're amazing. Please, can I just shadow you for a couple of hours on a Saturday? What do you think that dentist is going to say? Yes. Boom. You've got dentist work experience for your personal statement or for your CV for apprenticeships. It can be that easy. Leverage that network. And Kai, I want to slice this. I'm going to ask the question again. Sarah, what advice would you have for the 200 young people in the room as someone who's at her dream university at Cambridge?
I would say this is sort of linking to what was just said, but I would say follow your passions and what will be will be. So I'm someone who's quite like my faith is very important to me. Like I pray a lot for guidance. Like if you guys are Muslim, you know, istikhara. Like I pray a lot to see sort of like where like what direction I'm going to go in, because like something that the past 2 years have taught me is that if something is meant for you and if it is something that will be like that'll be good for you, like it will happen. Because if I am to start talking about my own personal experience here, oh my god, you guys are going to hear so much about me. It's so lame. When I was applying, like obviously the grade requirements for Oxbridge are A stars and A's. So I was taking 5 A levels and I was predicted 3 A stars and 2 A's. And my like requirement when I got my offer was an A star and 4 A's. I ended up getting with an A star in history. I ended up getting 4 B's with a B in history, like a B in the subject that I was going to take at Cambridge. Which was like I wasn't anywhere near like an A. I was like a low B. And I was like, yeah, no, like I'm definitely like not getting. Like, I didn't even check UCAS. I was like, that's it, khalas, I'm so like I'm actually so done. Like I've not got my offer. Like I just literally cried for like an hour and a half, and then my head of years said like, have you even checked UCAS yet? I checked UCAS. And they hadn't accepted me, but they hadn't rejected me. And they called me the next day to say, like, you were one of our top interview scorers. You were one of our top admission assessment. Like, we were basically one of our top candidates. So we want to take you anyway. And now I'm in my second year. And in my first year, I end up finishing the year with a first, which is the highest grade you can get at university.
and I was like near the top of my cohort. So my the piece of advice I'm giving you is, even if you don't click with A levels, because I never really clicked with A levels, I never clicked with exams. I was not someone who was very good at navigating the school system for many, many reasons. But then I got to university, and the way that like the teaching was structured was like so different to the way that it was structured at school and at sixth form. And it was an environment where I really thrived. And I think that the people interviewing me could tell that it was an environment that I would really thrive in, because because the way interviews are structured for Cambridge is they're structured exactly how you would have a supervision, which is those one-to-one meetings you have like to teach, like for teaching in Cambridge. And they're like, yeah, no, like from the interviews, we could tell that you'd be someone who would really suit the teaching style here. And so like my point is, if you follow what you are truly passionate about, and I was truly passionate about history, if you follow what it is that you want, and if you like, if you're spiritual, if you allow your faith to guide you, if you allow if you just put your mind at ease, and let your faith, or let like the universe or whatever it is you believe in guide you, you will end up where you need to be, is what I'm saying.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I think it's such an important lesson, though, Sarah. You may not get the grades. That doesn't mean it's game over. Okay? That doesn't mean it's game over. There's always another chapter. There's always another way. Thank you. And lastly, Haneen?
So it's going to sound like exactly what everyone else said, but I have two main pieces of advice. My first one is, don't let your studies overwhelm your hobbies. If you have something that you really enjoy, separate from where you want to study or just separate from school, don't neglect them. It's gonna keep you alive. I would like to say, I'm someone who, I really enjoy gym, I really enjoy photography and like reading and gaming and all that sort of things. That's the only thing that keeps that. I'm sitting here right now because my sanity is somewhat okay, because I was able to do those sort of things. So don't let you just like study because it's overwhelm you. You're gonna burn out and you're not gonna get what you want. But my second thing is, whatever comes your way, take it. So, like I told you guys, I was going to do law. So I was going more for like humanities sort of opportunities. But whenever Mr. Khan would put things on the group chat for any sort of thing, I went for it. I don't even see, like, I knew I had to stay in London, but I still went on like the Cambridge. What's it called again? When like you go to university to see it. Like, no. Huh? But open day. Thank you very much. I went to the Oxford Open Day, or even, okay, for example, when I told you guys that I wanted to do economics, I had applied for SOAS, summer school for economics, but because I was doing international social action, I couldn't go. But then I emailed them saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't attend, but I was wondering if there's anything else that I could do, because experience is really, really important, guys. So then they ended up getting back to me and they told me only history is available. And me, someone I know, like I love history, but I told you guys I'm not great with essays. So I knew I wasn't going to do history at university, but I still went for it. And to this day, I'm still in contact with a lot of the kids who were there with me. And that experience, I think, is what helped me get into university. But I also say, do whatever you can, because your grades won't always be what you want at the end of the day. I didn't get the grades that I wanted at the end of the day, and it didn't get me into my first choice, which was Queen Mary. But because of my experience and everything that I did going up to that date, I was able to get unconditional offer from C, which isn't that hurtful on results day. So it's definitely something that you should go after. But at the same time, if you don't get in, you don't get in. It is what it is. Like, honestly, it is what it is. Something else will come for you. And that just means it's not written for you. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you're done for. It just means that something else is waiting for you to sort of explore. That's just, it's not your future. That's okay. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Lovely. Wow. Yeah. What is for you is written for you, isn't it? Round of applause for that. Good advice. Okay, we've got some time for questions. So Sarah's going to be coming around with the mic to ask questions. And also, just to say, we're recording this as a podcast, so we can share it with the other hubs. So thank you. So make sure you're speaking into the mic when we do questions. And guys, we want to make sure you have access to all the alumni. We're going to do this 4 times across the different hubs. We're going to record each one as a podcast, and it's going to be sent out to you. So for instance, for those of you particularly interested in degree apprenticeships, yesterday's panel had 3 degree apprentices on it at Ernst & Young, a design apprentice, and engineering apprentice. And they were asking about you, Sarah, yesterday. They're like, where's the Cambridge girl? And we're like, don't worry, she's going to be on the podcast. So we'll send the podcast out to you. It's optional, but if you want to hear more people's stories about how they got where they got, you'll have access to all the alumni across all 4 hubs. Okay, so make sure when you're asking a question, you speak into the mic so it can be recorded on the podcast. Okay, first question. Hands up, hands up. Oh, geez, sorry. So at our GOG meeting for next session, we'll do this for about 5-7 minutes and then we're going to transition. Thank you.
My question is, have you ever had rejection and how do you use it to your advantage?
So I tried to apply for a lot of internships or work experience, and even like I told you guys, I didn't get into my first choice university. But it's just okay. So this is really important.
We're going to use 45 seconds of pauses.
Okay. It's really important. Go call up the person or email them and ask them, why didn't you take me? And they will tell you exactly why. So for one of them, it was didn't tell them enough about that company. But now I know that and I've been able to fix that problem. So just ask them, why did you reject me? And it'll be perfect.
Okay, we're going to do 1 question per person. Next question.
That's done.
Sorry.
What was the hardest part of the shift from sixth form to university and apprenticeship? And if you could go back to sixth form, what would you do to better prepare for it?
Good question. Okay, we'll get you to answer that. This thing is you were in sixth form last year, so it's very fresh for you.
The thing I'll do to better prepare myself is to not be such an unserious somebody in sixth form. I was definitely one of them people that was, when you have 3 periods in sixth form, I was not studying in 3 periods. I was talking. If I would go back, I'll like at least sometime before the exam just to lock in a little bit. But honestly, I had a really good time with sixth form. Don't regret a thing. Like, I enjoyed it so much.
What tips are you able to give for interviews?
In university?
I'm just in general.
Okay, Sarah? Okay, that's it. Reviews?
Voice every single thought that you have. I can't emphasize this enough because the amount of times that I've done mock interviews with people and they've been what I'll do is I'll give them a thing, like a source to read, and they'll read through it and I'll have the interview and they're just not saying much. They're just saying I don't know. And then at the end I tell them, okay, this is what you could have said. They said, oh, but I was gonna say that, like I had that inside my head, even if it sounds like really really stupid. If this is I think this is more like Cambridge interview based because that's what my experience is. But even if you think that what you've got in your head is like not relevant to the question, just say it because even if it's somewhat in the right direction, it can guide you towards the answer in the end. It shows that you have the ability to think about the topic deeply, and it shows that even if you are not exactly sure, you're willing to have a go. You're willing to put yourself out there, and this applies for job interviews as well. Even if you have absolutely no clue what to say, never say I don't know. Like that's the worst possible thing you can say. Always have some kind of answer ready. And for job interviews, make sure that for the main, they ask you there's always one question they ask you oh yeah, what sort of animal would you be? Or yeah, what's your greatest weakness? What's your greatest strength? Have answers prepared for that. Have answers prepared so that you're not just sitting there wait, who am I? What is my biggest weakness?
I know Francis, the LPTV is.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. We talk basically every single day.
My question is for Jadon. So you might have heard the saying that to be able to run faster, you have to run with people that are faster than you. So my question for you is that with apprenticeships, obviously with university, you're going to be surrounded by people that are going to push you. So is there a similar situation with apprenticeships as well?
Honestly, people push me all the time. Like within my team, you're apprentice, so you come in, you're at the bottom of the food chain. You can only be looking up, and there's people that have 20 years of experience doing what you're trying to do. Chat GPT will be very valuable. Like different techniques, different strategies can be employed in the future. So yeah, definitely surround yourself with people that are better than you and people that you can learn the most from.
And I think you get that even more in an apprenticeship because you're actually around senior leaders. You're around people that are doing it. Right? You're around senior managers, they're hustling, they're out there. I think, if anything, there's no excuse. You have to bring your A game when you're in a corporate environment because they're not paying you 25, 30K to chill. So I think you'll get a lot of that. Okay, let's do one more question. Okay, sir, and this one's for David.
How far is away from doing something you are and how you shape up that pressure?
Good question.
I'd probably say a lot of my family, they didn't want me to be able to tap into my creative side a lot. They wanted me to follow mainly the accounting and finance route and just follow that. And it was a thing where even though you hear all that noise, you got to step into what you want to. And I was able to step into that, and now signed a model for 2 agencies. So being able to step into that and be able to step into that new place, I feel like just do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? Just step into it. You'll be good.